So in our previous session, we were discussing catalog items workflow topic. So we'll continue the workflow topic in today's session. Let me just navigate to the personal developer instance. Okay. So what we have done in our previous session, we created a catalog item that is actually resignation form. In resignation form, catalog item is what we created. Whenever you submit the resignation form, concern respective department head should receive the approval. Respective department head should receive the approval. Once the department head approves, so there should be some tasks. Okay, there should be some tasks. So that means once employee resigns, so there will be some settlements, right? Like laptop return, and we have to surrender the laptop to IT team. If there are any financial settlements, no due certificate, as well as so there will be some tasks that employee has to complete before he leaves. ID card submission, laptop submission. So there will be some tasks before he leave the organization. So once all the tasks are completed, then the request item will be completed. Once the request item is completed, then we can actually we can actually provide a full and final settlement for that employee. Okay. So here in this case, what we have done, once the catalog item is submitted, we are sending an approval to the department head if the department head is there. If the department head is there, we are sending an approval to the department head. And once he provides approval, we have to create some tasks. We have to create some tasks. So once all the tasks are completed, then we should allow to we should actually close the requested item. Okay, we should close the requested item. So if the request item is not closed, he won't receive the experience letter. He won't receive the full and final settlement. So once the request item is completed, only then he can receive the full and final settlement. Okay. So here we'll wait for the PD to up and running. Okay, now it is up and running. Okay. I am going to the workflow here. Okay. So we have already created one, right? Designation form workflow. This is the workflow that we started. So first of all, what are we doing? Here we are actually checking the requester has department or not. If the requester has department, then we are keeping the approval state as requested. Then we are sending an approval to the department head. Once he approved, it is actually ending the workflow. This is what this is till this point we have actually discussed in our previous session. Once the catalog form is submitted, it will check the requester has department or not. So I'm just opening this activity. So in this activity, we wrote a script. What is that script we wrote here? You can see here, if current dot variables dot requested by. So catalog item variable values, you can get it in the workflow using current dot variables dot variable name. Okay. So current dot variables dot variable name. Using current dot variables dot variable name, you can get the catalog item values in the workflow. So here it will allow dot working. It will allow dot working. So then I'm using current dot variables dot variable name dot field name. Okay. So if the requested by has department, then it will say yes. No department, it will say no. So that is what the logic that we wrote here. Okay. So if it is yes, it will go to this path. Then what am I doing? So I am keeping the approval state as requested. So as the department is there, so I'm actually keeping the approval state as requested. I'm sending an approval to the respective person, respective department head. Okay. So let me just so to edit this workflow, you must check out. So if you don't check out, you can't work on the workflow. Okay. So if you don't check out the workflow, you can't work on that workflow, guys. Okay. I'm keeping the end activity somewhere here. Okay. So once here department head approves, what am I doing is laptop submission task I am creating. I am creating one task called catalog task. Okay. So I'm creating one task called catalog task. Go to the core here, use catalog task. So priority, moderate. Here this wait for completion checkbox. This one is important one. The workflow should wait for the catalog task to be closed means you have to check this checkbox. If this checkbox is checked, the workflow will wait for the task to be closed. So if you don't check this checkbox, the workflow won't wait. Okay. So this checkbox must be checked to wait for the workflow to complete this task. Okay. 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 Here, which team, this task should be assigned to which team? IT service level management group. Okay, I'm assigning to this particular team. Well, here, guys, I'm just checking the. So I told you right in the catalog item also in the variable set also we can show the variables requested by. So we can show the variables on the catalog task as well. I told you. We can show the variables on the catalog task as well. Okay. So I am writing the script here. So catalog task means SC underscore task table. Catalog task means SC underscore task table. SC underscore task table. So let me just go to the SC underscore task table. These are actually catalog tasks. If I have to fill all these field values, see, I am trying to fill, I am trying to fill short description, I am trying to fill assignment group. Where is the assignment group? We have to pull it up. Okay. Values, we have to use script here. To fill all the field values, you have to use script here. Okay. Task dot, task dot. Okay. Um, task dot priority is equal to 2. Task dot priority is equal to 2. Task dot state is equal to 1. Okay. Task dot description. Task dot description. So task dot description, in this description, what I have to do is I have to show all the catalog item values in the catalog task description. Okay, what I'm doing taking is I'm taking one variable here, JavaScript variable description is equal to okay, front dot variable start current dot variable start. Let me just go to the catalog items. Hmm. Then task dot description is equal to this description variable I'm seeing here. Okay, this is description. This is field name. Task dot description is equal to description. So requested by. Okay, I am showing all the variables in the catalog task description. Okay. So here you can see I'm variable values I'm accessing using current dot variables dot variable name. Okay. Now, once it is approved, it will create a task. Okay. So the workflow will wait for the task to be completed because we have checked the wait for completion checkbox. We have checked the wait for completion checkbox. Okay. So now you tell me, guys, how do you access the variable values in the workflow? Hmm? Using current dot variables dot variable name. So how do you access the, how do you set up the catalog task field values? Can you tell me, guys, how do you set the catalog task field values? Task dot variable name is equal to task dot, this is not a variable, task dot field name. Task dot field name is equal to variable dot current dot variables dot variable name. Okay, fine. Okay, now so once the catalog task is closed, we have to send an email notification. We have to send an email notification. Okay. Um, I told you, right? Email notifications, email notifications can be sent in 4 ways, isn't it? One is using inserted or updated. Inserted or updated. Mm, from the event is fired. Event is fired. Flow designer. Workflow. From the workflow also we can send an email notification is what I told you. In the workflow, you have to use an activity called send a notification activity. Mm, notification activity you have to use. Okay. We have to use notification activity. Whom you want to send. Okay, you want to send for requested by, right? Mm, um, you have to send an email to the requested by. Then what you will do is, so if you select here, these are actually static members. Static members means it will always go to the same person. These are not static members. Okay. So that is why what you will do, you don't select the static members here. You have to send to the requested by, right? Then you will use advanced checkbox here. In the advanced checkbox, you have to use answer variable. Answer is equal to current dot variable start requested by. Current dot variable start requested by. Okay. So if you want to add, if you want to send it to multiple people, you have to use comma separated. Set answer to comma separated list, comma separated list of user or group system IDs that you want to email send to. Okay. So answer is equal to I'm keeping requested by system ID. Requested by is a reference field, right? It will give obviously the system ID. So I'm sending an email to the requested by. Okay. So what will be the subject? You will write the subject here. Okay. Your exit formalities now complete. Your exit formalities are now complete. Mm, hi, current dot variable start requested by. This is the body. Please be informed that your exit formalities now completed. Many thanks. Okay. Submit this one. So then what happens? First of all, requester has department or not, it will check. The requester has department, it will actually keep the approval state as requested. Then once it will send an approval to the requested by department head. Then once he approved, we have to mark it as approved. So then what I'm doing is I'm using again approval action here. Okay, mark as approved. So mark as approved. So then, okay. So guys, instead of using this notification activity, we can also use, we can also use um, create event activity. Create event activity. In place of this one, you can also use create event activity as well. Okay. So when you use create event activity, you have to event concept. How many of you remember the event concept in the email notification? How many of you remember event concept in the email notification, guys? Hmm? So we have to create an event that event we have to provide here. Event name you have to provide here. So from here you can pass event param one. So event param one you can pass it here. Okay. In the return you can pass event param one. In the event param one I am passing here as current dot variable start requested by. Okay. So you can also pass event param two as well. Event param two as well. Okay. You can pass event param two as well. So this is where you will select event name. Okay. So either you can use notification activity or create event activity, anyone. Okay. So this is like instead of using gs.event queue, we are using create event activity here. Okay. So in the create event activity, we are actually writing. We are actually providing the event name. We are actually sending event param one from here. Okay. So you can write scripting if you want. You can calculate the value. You can pass that value as output here. Okay. And here in the param 2 also you can calculate the value and you can pass that as an output in the event param 2. So this is like gs.event queue, event name, object name, event param 1 and event param 2. Okay. So either you can use notification activity or create event activity. So instead of these two, okay, if you want to write the script in the workflow, if you want to write the script, so there is a activity called run script activity. So in this run script activity, you can write any server side script. So in this run script activity, you can write any server side script. Okay. Send email notification. Here you can write gs.event queue, event queue, event name. So I'm using current object here. Current object, event param 1, I'm passing as empty. Event param 2. Okay, event param 1, event param 2. Okay. So these three ways you can use, guys. Either you can use notification activity or create event activity or run script activity. See, run script activity. In the run script activity, you can write any server side script. You can write any server side script. So I am writing gs.eventqueue. gs.eventqueue, what it does, it will fire the event. It will fire the event. Okay. So once the event is fired, notification system notification will be sent out, right? So you can use either of these three things: send notification, create event, and run script. Okay, create event and run script. In the run script, writing gs.eventqueue, almost both are same. Okay, is that clear, guys? Everyone, guys, is that clear? So I'll show you approval action purpose for that. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm removing these activities here. Okay. Once the notification is sent out, I want to close the requested item. So I want to close the requested item. So here, guys, we are creating this workflow on the requested item table. Okay. So I want to close the requested item. To close the requested item, what I can do, either I can use run script activity or I can use set values. I'm using set values here. I'm using set values activity here. Okay. In the set values activity, I'm actually closing the requested item. Okay. Submit this. And once notification is sent out, you'll close the requested item. And you have to send another email notification here again. I am copying this activity. Copy activity. Okay. So this is the positive case. What if there is no department head? Okay. So then what I am doing is I am just keeping the approval action as rejected. Copy activity. Hmm, okay. I'm just copying this activity here. Closed incomplete. We have to send an email notification. Incomplete. Okay. Then it has to come here. We'll do one thing. We'll zoom out. Okay. See, this is positive scenario. This is positive scenario. So this is negative scenario. Okay. What if manager rejected? Then also it should come here. Okay. So then what is happening here? You understand, right? The flow here. Just zooming in again. See, if the requester has department, then approval state, I'm keeping it as requested. Then I'm sending an approval to the department head. If he approves, then it is keeping the state as approved. If he rejected, then I'm keeping the state as rejected. And here I'm actually creating a task. Once the task is completed, it will send the email notification that your exit formalities are completed, and we are actually closing the requested item, and we are sending another email that request item is closed complete. Then we are ending the workflow. This is the positive scenario, and we'll come to the negative scenario. If no department is there, then we'll keep the request item as rejected. And here we'll keep the request item state as rejected and state as closed incomplete. Okay. Then notification will send the notification out. We'll be ending the workflow. Okay. Let me just publish this workflow. Okay. We'll go and submit a catalog item now. We'll go and submit a catalog item. You can just click on right here. You can say, you can just click on show workflow to see the workflow process here. Now you can see here, we'll do one thing. We'll pull approval field on the form. Here, there is no approval field on the form, right? Right click, configure, go to form layout. Now the approval is in the requested state here. This approval state is there, right? This approval state, you are keeping it as requested here. Okay. Through this workflow, so first of all, it will check that the requester has manager or not. If manager is there, this approval field will be set as requested. That is what it does. Okay, once it is approved. Okay, once the approval is approved. So now you can see the approval state is set as approved. Okay, you can just see here the approval state is set as approved and it has actually created a catalog task. You can scroll down here. Okay, you can scroll down here. Catalog task is created. This catalog task is assigned to ATF service level assignment group. Okay, this task is assigned to. So in the catalog task also we can see the variables is what I told you, right? Are we able to see the variables in the catalog task as well? So we are able to see the catalog tasks on the variable. We are able to see variables on the catalog task as well because these variables we added from the workflow. So in the workflow we added these variables. Okay. So scroll down here. You can see. Think we have to show the display name for better opportunity. Yes, great. These are the external email addresses. So in the description, this is what we populated. Okay. So it will wait for the workflow is now waiting for this task to be closed. The workflow is now waiting for this task to be closed. So once I close this task, okay, the request item will be closed. Now you can see the workflow. Now once the task is closed, now the workflow has moved forward, and now the workflow has closed the requested item as well. Now the workflow has closed the requested item as well. Now you can see the workflow has come to end. Now the workflow has come to end. So what did we do here? First of all, we have actually used approval user activity. We have used approval user activity. Okay. Department is there or not, we have checked, and then we have actually marked the state as requested before sending the approval. Once approvals are sent, they have to take the action. Once they approved it, it will actually be uh, marked as approved. Once it is approved, it will create a task. Once a task is closed, the workflow will wait for the task closure. Once the task is closed, it will be sending an email notification. We'll see email notification is sent out or not in the email logs. See, request item is close complete. Exit formalities are now complete. Okay. You can see here, exit formalities are now complete and request item is close complete. So it has sent an email notification out. Okay. Okay. So then after sending the email notifications out, it will close the requested item and it will actually end the workflow. Okay, we'll now test for the negative scenario. Okay, we'll test for the negative scenario here. This is not editable, right? Mm, We'll make the request item requested by editable for now only. I can get editable. Okay, I'm selecting a person who doesn't have department. So I'm selecting Prudviraj. Okay, Prudviraj doesn't have a department. Okay, now you can see the workflow is actually closed incomplete. Now you can see if the requester has no department, it will actually come this path. Okay. And we'll now do another negative scenario. So system administrator only. Now I am rejecting this one. So once it is rejected, you can see here. You can see the workflow here. The requester has department and the approval state is set as requested. Okay, now the approval state is set as requested. It went to the approval. So here it is rejected. Once it is rejected, I am marking the state as rejected. I am actually keeping the requested item state as closed incomplete. Okay, closed incomplete. And here I'm actually sending an email notification that closed incomplete. I'm actually ending the workflow. I'm ending the workflow. So this is the negative scenarios, guys. These two are the negative scenarios. Okay, you are getting my point. So we will understand some more activities in the workflow in tomorrow session. Okay, till now you are able to understand if activity, approval action activity, approval user activity, catalog task activity, notification activity, create event activity, runs set emails, set values. So do you understand about these activities? So understand about each activity in the workflow, guys. So that it will be useful for every catalog item. Okay, I'm unmuting everyone. You can ask your questions now, guys. You are able to understand about each activity. Hmm?
Yes, sir.
So in the workflow, guys, you have to understand about how to access the variables in the how to access catalog item variables in the workflow. Current dot variables dot variable name. Okay. So if you want to set the task field value, catalog task field values, you have to use task dot field name. Task dot short description is equal to, okay. You can write some string here. Getting my point. And if you want to set the if you want to send an email in the notification activity, you have to set values in the answer variable. Answer is equal to the system ID of the person whom you want to send or system ID of the group whom you want to send. Okay. Workflow creating is okay, sir, but why we have to create a workflow? So here we to automate the process. To automate the process, uh, add- we have to create a workflow. See, Priyanka, we have actually created a workflow here. Okay, there is that workflow. We created this workflow here. We attach this work. This is the catalog item that we created. In this catalog item, we will attach that workflow. Workflow is used to automate the process. Okay, workflow is used to automate the process. You can see if you go to the process engine here, here we have attached that workflow. Whatever the workflow that we created, that workflow we attached here to the catalog item. Okay. So here, if you don't use workflow, you can't send you can't send approvals. You can't wait for the approvals. You can't wait for the task creation. You can't wait for the task closure. So these workflows are used always to automate the process in the organization. Okay. So we will discuss even more in detail in tomorrow session about the workflows, guys. Okay. At any cost, I'll finish this training by end of this week. Okay. See, you can clearly see here, catalog items are goods or services available to order from the service catalog. Items can be anything from hardware like tablets, phones to software applications to furniture and office supplies. Okay, you can clearly see here catalog items are goods or services available to order from the service catalog item. Okay, so flow designer is more advanced one, guys. Okay, flow designer is more advanced one. So whatever the topics that we learned so far, um, so all topics, instead of all these topics, we can use one flow designer. So we did discuss about business rules. We did discuss about scheduled jobs. We did discuss about email notifications. We did discuss about workflows. We did discuss about script actions. We did discuss about we did discuss so many things, right? Hmm? Instead of using all these things, we can use one flow designer. So flow designer is such a powerful tool, such a powerful feature that is introduced. So instead of using business rule, you can use flow designer. Instead of using scheduled job, you can use flow designer. Instead of using script action, you can use flow designer. Instead of using script include, you can use flow designer. Instead of using transform app, you can use flow designer. Flow designer is such a powerful tool which can be helpful without scripting. Without scripting, we can achieve the requirements. It will replace all the features that we discussed so far. Okay, you understand, right? Okay. Okay, guys. We'll see you there in tomorrow session. Okay, keep practicing. Thank you, everyone.